Hey guys, today I was thinking about making another Linux distro review video, and you know what? I thought, let's review another Arch-based Linux distribution, because, I haven't reviewed, like a couple of dozen of them already on this channel. In particular, I'm going to review Bluestar Linux, which, as I mentioned, is based on Arch. It uses the KDE Plasma desktop. So KDE, Arch, yeah, I've reviewed a few distros like that. This is why a lot of, like Windows users especially, talk about the open source community and how we fork things up. But that's the subject of another video. Today's video, Bluestar Linux. Bluestar Linux is a GNU/Linux distribution that is based on Arch Linux. You noticed? GNU/Linux? There you go. Alright, the Bluestar distribution features up-to-date packages, a full range of desktop and multimedia software in the default installation, and a live desktop DVD. Apparently, Bluestar has been doing well in the DistroWatch rankings. I actually didn't know it was this popular. In DistroWatch's 6-month rankings, PageIt rankings, they're ranked 49th. So apparently, a lot of people are installing Bluestar. I'd actually never heard of it until, a couple of weeks ago, one of my viewers mentioned it to me that I should review it. So I'm going to take a look at it today. So I downloaded the ISO. I'm going to be installing this in a virtual machine. The ISO for Bluestar Linux. In size, it was 2.4 gigabytes, so a pretty big ISO. Anyway, we have our boot menu here. I'm just going to go ahead and boot straight into the live environment here. And booting directly into the live environment may take a minute or two. Alright, and we've booted into the live environment. I must say, the live desktop environment looks very nice. We have our dock here at the bottom. Pretty neat little dock. We have some weather information here on the desktop. We have some icons here on the desktop. So let me see if I can find the installer. There's no icon for the installer on the desktop, which you think, if you were going to put icons on the desktop anyway in your live environment, that's probably the most important one, is an icon linking to the installer. The dock here, when I hover over the icons on the dock, they don't tell me what the programs actually are. So I'm not sure if any of these are the installer or not. Like this one has a money symbol in it. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Oh, of course, it's the terminal. Anyway, I changed the settings here in this dock, and I got a more traditional looking panel here at the top of the screen showing now. Though it looks like I've got two panels at the top. So that's some kind of graphical glitch here. Let me see if I can just do a search here in this menu for the installer. Bluestar Linux installer. Okay. Again, I'm coming at this fresh, brand new. I've never used Bluestar, but if I have trouble finding the installer for a Linux distro, just think what a Linux novice, somebody coming to it brand new for the first time, they're going to have some problems. I created a 15 gig hard drive for this virtual machine, by the way. Bluestar is warning me that 15 gig hard drive is not big enough. There is not enough drive space. At least 20 gigabytes is required. That's a pretty big requirement for a Linux distro, 20 gigs. I'm going to create a new virtual machine, though, and give it 20 gigs of hard drive space. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back in the live desktop environment. Again, I had to create a 20 gig virtual machine. And I'm going to go down here to this dock. I'm going to go to Layouts. I'm going to choose the Extended Layout. This is what I chose before that gave me this top panel. Now that I have this top panel in the menu, we've got two panels that are overlapping each other. But I want to get to the dang Kickstart menu here and do a search for the installer. Bluestar, you really need to fix this. Anyway, the installer launches. This looks like the Calamares installer. Alright, I've actually never seen this before. The Bluestar installation, we have a drop-down menu. Basic, Desktop, Desk Pro, or Developer. Now Basic, it says Basic installation is for those without internet access. Disable your internet connection and restart the installer. Okay, well I'm not going to do that. Desktop, I'm assuming this would be the standard desktop version of Bluestar. I'm going to go with that. English is the language, so we're good on that. Time zone. I'm in the central time zone, so let me change that. Click Next. English US has been chosen for the keyboard layout. I can test that out in this test field. It's working correctly. Click Next. Partitioning, we have the option of Erase Disk. This just lets Bluestar do any automatic partitioning. It sets up the partitions automatically. We don't have to fool with it manually. But if you want to, you can choose manual partitioning. This is useful if you're dual booting or you need to create, separate home partitions or a music partition or something. I'm going to click Next. We need to choose a username and a password. Log in automatically without asking for the password. It's ticked on by default. I'm going to tick that off. I want to be asked for my password. Use the same password for the administrator account? Yes. This basically allows the home user. That password is also our administrator password. That way we don't have to set up two different passwords. Summary. Location looks good. Keyboard looks good. Partition scheme looks good. I'm going to click Next. It's going to warn me that it's about to format the drive and write to the disk. I'm going to click Install now, and the installation begins. The installation process probably will take around 10 minutes. Okay, so the installation's been running a few minutes. I actually stepped away to go get me a cup of coffee. By the way, Joe's brand coffee. Joe. J-O-E. The best coffee there is. And I have a lock screen. I don't know why they thought we needed a lock screen on the live desktop environment, but it's locked. What's the password to unlock it? How about live? No, it's not live. How about root? No. Looks like the live user's name is BSLX. I'm assuming for Bluestar Linux. Let's see if BSLX. How am I going to know when the install completes if I can't unlock this screen to actually see the installer run? Bluestar, you're killing me. Well, I can't figure out what the password is, and a quick Google search. I spent 2 or 3 minutes doing a Google search, and I couldn't find the password for whatever the live environment user is here. So I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just wait. I'm going to give it plenty of time. I'm just going to step away for 10 or 15 more minutes just to make sure the installer completes, even though I can't see it because of this lock screen. Then I'll restart the virtual machine, as you normally would after an installation completes, and hope for the best. If it doesn't go well, then I'll just reinstall. And the moment of truth, let's go ahead and fire up Bluestar Linux, and let's see if we actually got it installed. We at least get to a grub screen, so I think we may have successfully installed Bluestar Linux, even though I couldn't actually watch the installer. And we get a splash screen. See if we get to a login manager. Looks like the VirtualBox guest editions are going to work for us out of the box. I'm actually shocked. I really expected to have to do the install again. So it looks like everything's working. Let me enter my name and password. I noticed we didn't have a background or a wallpaper in the login manager. It was just a black screen. I'm not sure if that's normal or not. I would have thought they would have had some kind of wallpaper set up for that, but all right. Do you really want to remove Pac-Man's transition lock file? Why are we getting this pop up here? And do I really want to remove Pac-Man's transition lock file? I didn't try to run any command to remove any files, so I'm just going to close this window. Right, I'm getting another pop-up here about our display resolution has changed. Okay, well, let me close that. Oh, a second pop-up about the resolution. And a third pop-up. They're all the same pop-up. I didn't need that pop-up 3 different times. Alright, I'm going to go into this menu. And before I even start the review, I'm just going to open a terminal. Because this is a rolling release distribution, of course, based on Arch. So I'm going to go ahead and update the system because there may be some updates. Looks like unable to lock database. So let me go ahead and remove the database lock file and run the update command again. It looks like it's going to work for us. And whoa, look at all the programs that need to be updated. 458 programs need to be updated. The date on this ISO was not very old, January 15th of this year. So basically 1 month. 1 month ago. Already 458 packages need to be updated. That's unfortunate, but I'm going to go ahead and run the update. Because I really think I need to have an up-to-date system before I do the review just to give Bluestar a fair shot here. Especially since I'm not real sure what went on with that installer. This is going to take a little while though. I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes. Grab me a second cup of coffee. Okay, so I updated the machine and I rebooted this virtual machine. So now everything should be up to date and squared away. I'm going to go through the programs that are installed by default on Bluestar Linux. I'm going to go through the menu here. Again, we installed their desktop edition. This is Bluestar Desktop. Under the development category, we have some translation stuff. We have JEdit. We have a bunch of Qt utilities. It's mainly for app development. Under education, we have a mathematics subcategory that contains LibreOffice Math. We have a science subcategory that also contains LibreOffice Math. Games, we have a subcategory for card games. K-Patience is in that subcategory. Graphics, we have our ebook viewer. We have GIMP, the GNU image manipulation program, GIMP. GIMP is basically a free and open source Adobe Photoshop alternative. It's really one of the highlights to free and open source software is GIMP. One of the best programs out there. It really helps a lot of Windows user and Mac users come to Linux because they're worried about the unavailability of the Adobe suite of programs, in particular Photoshop. GIMP is not Photoshop, but it's pretty close. Anyway, back to the menu. Of course, the top panel, I just realized, has that intelligent auto hide feature enabled, so it disappears on us. Alright, back to graphics. GwenView is our image viewer. We have Color Paint, K-Photo Album, LibreOffice Draw, LRF Viewer. We have Ocular. Ocular is that the photo manager in KDE? I believe so. Ocular. About Ocular. Ocular is a universal document viewer. Yeah, it's a document viewer, not the photo manager. The photo manager in KDE is photo manager. I always get Ocular confused with the photo manager. I think the photo manager is it Digicam? I don't know. I don't use a lot of the KDE programs though, outside of running KDE occasionally and virtual machines. I don't like most of the KDE programs, with the exception of things like Kdenlive and K3B, the disk burning utility is great. We also have a More Applications subcategory under Graphics. We have K Color Chooser and K Ruler. Under Internet, we have Avahi, we have Filezilla. That's an interesting choice to include on an ISO. Filezilla is an FTP program. FTP, that's File Transfer Protocol. It's for uploading files to a remote server, such as a web server. Not something most desktop Linux users are going to need, not on a regular basis for sure. Also under Internet, we have Firefox as our default browser. Firefox Quantum 58.0.2. Alright, also under Internet we have KGit, which is, I believe, KDE's download manager, KNet Attach, Conqueror, KTorrent, which is KDE's BitTorrent client. Pigeon Instant Messenger. It's an instant messaging client. We have Skype Preview. I'm guessing it's a Skype installer if you wanted to install Skype for Linux. That's kind of cool that they include that. I know a lot of desktop Linux users do use Skype. Thunderbird is our email client. Under multimedia, we have Amarok. I didn't know Amarok was actually still being developed. Amarok is KDE's audio player. And when I was about to say it didn't open when I clicked it, but it just took a long time for Amarok to open. But I am not sure. Like I said, I thought Amarok was not being developed anymore. I haven't seen Amarok installed by default on too many KDE systems in a while. And I review a lot of KDE distros. Let's see, about Amarok, version 2.8.0. Yeah, looking at the Amarok website, this blog hasn't had a post since 2015. And actually, before that very last post in 2015, it didn't have a post since 2013. And the download page on their blog hasn't been edited or modified in any way since January of 2013. So I'm pretty sure Amarok is a dead program. It's no longer under development. Most KDE distros now ship with one of two audio players by default. A lot of KDE distros now are shipping with Cantata. Cantata is a MPD music player. MPD, the music player daemon. It's really nice music player, actually, Cantata, if you don't mind setting up MPD. A lot of KDE distros also are using Clementine these days. Clementine is a very full-featured music player. Really nice program, one of my favorites. And that's probably what I would do if I installed Bluestar Linux on a machine, is I would get rid of Amarok since it's no longer under development, and I would install Clementine. It's a Qt program too, a Qt program, so works great in KDE. Back to the multimedia category, we have, I really don't like this auto-hiding menu. I really should disable that. AMZ Downloader. I'm not sure what AMZ Downloader is. Wants to download to my music directory by default, though, whatever it is. Also under multimedia, we have Dragon Player is our video player in KDE. We have FFADO Mixer. I'm assuming that's some kind of audio mixer. GNOME ALSA Mixer for, again, setting volume levels on your computer. GUVC View is a webcam program. You guys see the rectangle that my head is currently talking in? This is GUVC View. That is that program running on my main machine. We have Juke K3B. K3B I've already mentioned is a disk burning utility. Really nice disk burning utility. KMix. Qt. Some more Qt library stuff. VLC. We also have the VLC multimedia player. VLC is a fantastic video player. Plays audio too. Under the Office category, we have Calibre, which is for e-readers. I really like Calibre. It's a really nice program. We have our ebook editor, K-Address Book, Contact, K-Organizer. We have most of the LibreOffice suite installed. We have Base, Calc, Draw, Impress, Math, and Writer all installed. We have Localize. It looks like this is some kind of translation program, possibly to help the KDE project, it looks like. You do not have to be a software developer to be a member of the KDE team. So yeah, I guess this is a way for KDE users to contribute to the project to help out with translations. In fact, it's one of the most needed way to contribute to any open source project is translations. All of them are looking for translators. If you speak, especially some other language other than English, because most people on the internet, we kind of do business in English, so there's plenty of English out there. But if you speak non-English languages, most of these free and open source projects would love to have you guys work on some translations for them, if you have the time. Under settings, we have Grub Customizer, iBus Preferences, ICE-T, we have print settings and system settings. We may come back to the system settings later. All right. Under System, we have Avahi again. We have the Bluestar installer. I'm not sure why the installer is actually included on the actual install. I understand why it's in the live DVD, of course, but they probably don't need that in the actual installed system. Cairo dock. Cairo dock is the dock here at the bottom of the screen. Really nice dock. We have our config editor. We have Dolphin. Dolphin is the file manager in the KDE desktop environment. Really nice file manager. And back to the menu. I really hate this auto hide feature. They probably should turn that off by default. You know, if somebody wants it, they can turn it on, but it is kind of annoying. Especially if it's something you don't want. Anyway, Gparted. We're back to the system category. Gparted was included. HTOP, of course, the system monitor. It's our interactive process viewer. I gave this machine 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. It's using about 2% of it. That's pretty good for KDE. Memory, I gave it 6 gigs of memory. It is using almost a gig. It's using 912 megabytes. That's pretty high, but KDE is not a lightweight desktop environment at all. Also under System, we have Console, we have KSysGuard, which is our GUI process viewer and system monitor, KSystemLog, KWallet Manager, Lingu Assist, yada yada yada, a lot of the standard system stuff. We have Octopi, of course. Octopi is our GUI update manager, package manager. If you guys are familiar with other GUI package managers, such as those of you coming from the Debian and Ubuntu world, if you guys have ever used the Synaptic package manager, Octopi is very similar in look and feel and function. I'm going to right-click on the desktop. I'm going to choose Configure Desktop. Let's see what kind of wallpapers are included here in Bluestar Linux. Looks like they're using a lot of the standard stuff you see in a lot of KDE distros. Some abstract art, some nature photographs. Pretty cool photographs, but I've seen all of these before. Of course, we have the Breeze theme. The Breeze theme is a very nice light theme. Works great against a dark background, kind of like I have going here. They also have the Breeze Dark theme installed by default. It's a fantastic dark theme. Though the Breeze Dark theme really works good with light wallpapers. Since I have a dark wallpaper, I'm going to go back to just the standard Breeze theme. Yeah, I like that. Actually, I don't like the Breeze theme for these widgets on the desktop. I wonder if I can get those looking different. Let's see. Because I really want them to be transparent. Yeah. So you can go to Desktop Theme, choose Naked as the desktop theme, and you have the transparency set again. For the icon sets, really no extra icon sets. It's your standard Breeze and Breeze Dark icons, the standard KDE icon sets, and Adwaita, which is the standard GNOME icon set. So, what are my thoughts on Bluestar Linux being the first time I've ever installed Bluestar, ever used Bluestar, really until a couple of weeks ago. First time I've even heard of Bluestar Linux. The install could be better. The live desktop environment, there's no easy way to discover where that installer is. Put an icon on the desktop or in the dock for the installer. Don't make somebody have to search through a menu to find your installer. The lock screen during the live environment. How are we going to know what the password is for that lock screen unless you tell us somewhere, hey, this is the password? Or just disable the lock screen altogether in the live environment. So, the installer, I can't give it an A. I kind of give it like a B minus. Their actual KDE desktop environment, the Plasma desktop environment, it's very pretty out of the box. It's very functional. I love the Cairo dock too. Their dock of choice here, Cairo dock. You don't see this installed by default in too many distros, but it's a fantastic dock. Has a lot of functionality to it. For those of you that want to tinker and play with it, Cairo dock, the sky's the limit to what you can do with this dock. But you know what I did not like by default? This intelligent auto hide panel. I really wish they would disable that out of the box. If a user wants to enable that feature, let them. But I think a lot of users will be put off by that. For one thing, a lot of users, they're going to have no idea that that panel is even there when they first boot into a system. I know I didn't. That was part of the problem I was having during that initial install, is that I didn't know this panel was here. And you kind of have to hold at the top for a while before it, so they have it kind of set to where you really need to hold the mouse like a full second to get it to come out. That's a little long. So, and there are a million Arch-based distros out there that use the KDE desktop environment. So you really need to kind of separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. I mean, I've reviewed Manjaro KDE, which I loved. Actually installed on my main production machine, Manjaro KDE. You have distros out there like Antergos that do a great KDE edition, Chakra, Netrunner. Their rolling release Netrunner is based on Manjaro. Mainline Arch itself, I mean, you can do a really nice KDE install in Mainline Arch. So you really need to do something special to get noticed. And honestly, Bluestar, I'm not that impressed. I mean, it's okay, but it's not blowing my skirt up. Peace, guys.